Hi, everyone. Okay, so I am here to talk about Tyler Perry's new movie. Now, okay, let's get the name together. And I know I should have done this before, but whatever. Um, here's the thing. A Jasmine's Blues. Okay, a Jasmine Blues. I think the story is pretty interesting. Let's start there. And that is no shade, that is high regard. The story is pretty interesting. The acting is not terrible. So it's not a terribly acted movie. I think some actresses are better than others in this. Like Amira Van, who plays Mama, that's her name, is extremely good. You have others that are pretty mediocre, like Joshua Boone, the Bayou character. I felt he was a little on the mediocre side because, like, first of all, the accent was like marginal. Um, okay, so let's talk about what the movie is. Let's see if there's something that I actually can get with. Um, I, I actually do have something that I can really, really touch upon. It's about a guy, this woman who we don't know. I tried to connect the dots and be like, well, maybe that's so and so, maybe that's so and so. I couldn't figure out who it is. Maybe y'all could tell me. Anyway, there is a woman, a senior woman, who is sitting there watching some white guy on television. He's running for governor, talking about how his family has a history of being governor in the governor's mansion and blah 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 blah. And we want to rescind some rights to black folks and da, 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 da. I'm not a racist though. Okay. No, of course you're not. And so we get down to the story where she hobbles her way on a cane down to the governor, down to where this dude is who's running for governor. And she's like, I want you to investigate a murder. And here's all the letters, here's all the proof, and here's whatever, whatever, so that you can kind of know what I'm talking about. He's like, you want me to investigate an old murder from like, what is it, 40 years ago? And she's like, did I stutter? And he's like, and then so she gets up and she walks away. So he looks down, he notices the name on it, and we don't know what the name is. We don't know the resonant. We don't know why this name sparks an interest to him at first. And so he sits there and he starts reading. And so here we go, and we see the whole movie is about these letters and they're acting it out. So I hear all of the complaints about the movie and how all of the movie takes a bit from all of these other stories and hodgepodges and throws it in there. The only reason why that doesn't bother me is because this is not a news story where a Black man falls in love with a light skinned, almost white woman. And the notion of passing, and the thing that I do appreciate, and I've had this conversation with my mom because she has some of her cousins absolutely, when they got of age, they left home and they went down to either Chicago, more likely Chicago, and started, because Chicago is not that far away from Terre Haute, Indiana. It's about like 4 hours away. And a three hour drive. And then I didn't realize that they have their Indiana is on their own little time zone. How am I supposed to know that anyway? So it's an hour difference, hour ahead or whatever. Yeah, it's an hour ahead of it's an hour ahead of Chicago. So it's about like a 3.5, 4 hour drive. Anyway, Um, and the thing that so they went down to Chicago and they started passing. And my mother is lighter than me, and my grandmother is even lighter than my mom. And my grandmother used to roll her hair and pin it, and she always wore bright red orange lipstick. When I tell you that she looked like I Love Lucy, and I thought it was a compliment because I love me some Lucille Ball, and she got offended. And I was like, why are you so offended, Grandma? You look just like I Love Lucy. Well, I now as an adult understand that level of offense because my grandmother absolutely, in my mind, I don't think she could pass. But, and this is where I've seen other commentators make comments about, there's no way she could have passed. But I was like, look, I'm letting you know right now that, especially at that time period, people instantly could look at a fair skinned Black woman. I don't think that they could pass for sure. But I also can realize that um, passing at that time didn't look as much as it does to me. Like, I mean, I think that Black folks, we instantly know who's Black. And or we can easily, in my head, I do it all the time. I'll be like, oh, that person is either Black, or even if it's a person who believes that they're white, and you can instantly begin to start like, oh, I know they had some Black some generations ago, they just don't know it. And but that is a story that is consistently and prominent our um within our story of Black folks in America. So I don't find this being, unlikely. I think that it's legitimately likely. And in fact, if you go back and look at a lot of Black folks that passed, I think you'd be amazed at how you couldn't tell. Like, I mean, even when I was in college, I mean, I was a little lighter in college, which is strange because I lived in Malibu, but and in my sorority, well, not my sorority, but it was in a sorority that they really wanted me to join. One of the things is that they felt that they can confuse me with a person who is Hawaiian. And I'm like, I don't know how you can confuse me because I don't look Hawaiian. Uh, my voice doesn't sound like Hawaiian. I know that that could be problematic. And I have a deeper tone of a voice, even though my voice is still kind of high pitched. Uh, I don't get it, but and is it I what I do find that's amusing is how Black folks see each other is absolutely different how white folks see Black folks. And I think that that's the part of the story that Jazzman's Blues tries to get at. Okay, so let's put that there. So the main character, Boone, hooks up with another character, or her main character is Bayou. Sorry, the last name of the actor's Boone. Leanne, and her nickname is Bucket. And Bucket is a horrible nickname. Essentially, it's saying that this woman, her mother just dropped him off at some senior at dropped her off at her father's house and never looked back. And it's unfortunate. What I don't like about this mother is I don't see why you wouldn't raise your daughter. Why would you leave your daughter to your father? Because I'm gonna let you know right now, your father's willingness to have sex with physically assault your daughter. You think that he probably didn't do, there's no way in my mind that he didn't do that to you. And so for the fact that you would be willing to drop your daughter off so that she can get molested just like you were probably molested by your, I mean, you just trash. She's a trash of a mother on so many levels. And what I don't understand about the grandmother, or the Leanne, is I probably would, I mean, especially at this time of day, this time in society where nobody, I mean, she could probably get away with murder. She could bury him in the back and nobody's going to go run and tell the cops on her. So she probably could have just knocked him over the head. I mean, he's slow anyway. Uh, Boil some water, uh, put it on, whatever. Because the fact, I mean, there's only some. You're gonna try to attack me once. You may get it. You may get me that first time, but you're not gonna get me a second time. I mean, and we have a lot more restrictions now when it comes to law, but at that time, come on, we're in the 1900s. I I don't get it. She should have killed him because he's hobbling around. He's a grandpa. He's a grandparent. How you gonna hold me down? Anywho, um, so I'm trying to be. So the fact that Bayou was afraid, even more so, and he calls himself over the years that he was maybe he was a wimp. Because I do feel like he should have been able to go through that door and beat this grandparent alive. He's a grandpa. Y'all could have offed him anyway. I guess maybe they were respectful to their elders a little bit more. I don't get it, but I also don't. I can understand why he's being treated so badly by the father, because this happened a lot. And a lot of times it's the story that we don't know. Was his mother raped? Because there's a lot of rape that took place during this time period. It's a lot of rape now, but it's a lot of rape during that time because they didn't even classify it as rape. And you're just so happy that you can get somebody to marry you, even though you're pregnant with somebody else's baby. And so to me, I feel like that's the level of resentment. And of course, she's going to protect her son against this horrible husband. But why would you why would you, want this piece of a man in the first place? She didn't need him. But she was upset about her son, and her son is trash. Her son is a trash man. She knew he was a trash man. Anyone who wants to follow behind this man who's being evil and mean to your son for no reason, you have to sometimes look your son in the eye and be like, look, I loved you, I birthed you, but you are a horrible individual. And I am not interested in you being attached to me. But a mother's love, a mother's love. Anywho, Bayou goes to the military and he eventually comes back. And he still has this love for Leanne. He's been writing all these letters. Leanne now begins to start passing. She makes her way down to Georgia again. She's going to be the governor's wife. And lo and behold, she hooks up with Bayou again. They have sex, and then she's all scared because Bayou has to hurry up and get out of town because they're trying to kill the man. And so he goes up to Chicago with his brother, coincidence, and they're supposed to go. And it just so happened that in the clubs in Chicago, they like him, and his brother gets to play in the background. He gets hooked on heroin, and he becomes a heroin addict. And a lot of Black folks are kind of not willing to deal with Mama's speakeasy. She had a speakeasy, but they weren't really comfortable being in the speakeasy because they're scared because these white men were looking at, trying to kill her son. And so word get, and these white folks are so evil that he keeps sending money down to his mom, and they keep stealing the money out of her envelopes. I feel like he should have been writing letters to like maybe somebody else. Like there should be a way to have circumvent. Your mama's not getting your money. So why you keep sending money in a card? Like, why don't you send the money, why don't you send the money to somebody else? Like, and then you can, like, common sense, man. This is the problem with Tyler Perry movies. Like, this is one of the major complaints that I have with Tyler Perry is sometimes he doesn't think that we would have common sense. I think that he feels that he sells his character short. Us Black folks have had a lifetime in having to make nothing out of something, how to make something out of nothing. Sorry. And in order to make something out of nothing, there had to be some ingenuity, there had to be some ideas, there had to be some way that we kind of circumvent the system. And he really makes his characters 1+1 = 2, when in fact, Black folks have a history of doing some amazing, outlandish, out of the box, normal things. And it angers me that is what's missing from a lot of his stories. Like, you cannot tell me that he doesn't put two and two together saying, I'm sending all this money home to my mom and she's struggling. Oh, that means she's not getting the money. Let me find another way. He never finds another way. So in his mind, he thinks I got to go down there, which I think is not a bad idea, to go down there and go down there and play. But I also don't understand why he feels the need to drag his brother. I would have left my high brother who's going to clearly kill himself from shooting himself up. I thought he was dead. I was like, he's still alive. My gosh, how many lives of this man who's barely holding on to grace and mercy? How much grace and mercy is this man getting from God? I don't understand why he didn't leave him. Tell my mama wants you to be down there. Mama don't. You and me know that your mama don't care about seeing this boy. Like, spare me. Anyway, and you honestly, he treats you like crap all these years and he puts a gun to you. I know you think that it's the drugs. No, he was going to put a gun to you anyway. And the fact that y'all get down there and you still have a plan to take this woman, Leanne, back with you to Chicago. And that your brother, Willie Earl, goes up and tells, spoiler alert, by the way. He goes up and tells these white folks, I know where that Negro is that you were looking for. I mean, he's just he is such a trifling individual if I haven't seen a trifling individual in my day. And thus, it sucks that we don't get to know what happened. I don't care about Willie Earl, but it sucks that we don't get to know what happened with Mama. I feel like Willie Earl is going to end up dead on the side of the corner, side of the street. Don't trust this little knucklehead of a boy. I guess he's a man. And I also, Leanne, this whole time, she settles in. She stays pretending that she's white. Come to find out, that's his mama. So he finds out that he is actually, in fact, a Negro. And he ain't white. He ain't his pappy's son. Oh, well. I mean, like I said, good story. There are some flaws in the story, but I mean, Tyler Perry, you know, for it to be a Tyler Perry film, it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's 2 hours. I think that's a bit much. I think it's a bit long. Um, he does he Tyler Perry does well at telling these really graphic, racist, or trauma stories well. So it's not a bad movie. It's just my mother's like I had to watch it in sections, which is fair because you know what's so fascinating about my mother is that I told you that okay, so my grandmother was born in 1919 and 1923. One, my grandmother and grandfather, one was born in 1919, the other one was born in 1923, and they both were uh no, so my grandmother had to been born in 1923 because my grandfather was born in 1919, so he was older. And my mom was she was born in 49 and they had like 10 kids and she was near the bottom. She was like number I think 7 or something. Yeah, number 7 or 8. I think she was number 7. And her, I mean, it was a concern. I mean, and it's kind of this thing where all of her brother, not all, most of her brothers did at one point date a white guy, a white woman, right? And this is Terre Haute, Indiana. And there is one brother, he's now dead, and he received a lot of honors. And when it comes to being in the Hall of Fame, etc., right? And track and field. And what's fascinating about him is that he's receiving all of this now. He started in all of this recognition really started coming in 2014. And so I started to ask, like, I'm writing a book on my family right now, and well, sports side of the understanding of their significance to sports. And I asked the question, like, why now? Why in 2014? And you know, it goes back to him being in this relationship with this white woman, and her family is now making all of these concessions, and they won't say their name. And you're thinking, does it really matter? It's 2014. Today is, it's 2022, and you still won't overtly say the name publicly. Like everything publicly has to be anonymous. And it's so strange. I say it's strange because as much as people want to think that life has advanced, and it has, but there are some things that are still we still live we still live in a generation with people who are still living and breathing that is dealing with the secrets of these type of relationships. And I think it's a fascinating thing because a lot of us are like, oh, get over it. It's not that big of a deal. There are people who can't get over it and can't move on. So here we are. So A Jazzman's Blues is on Netflix. I'm not sure. I mean, I think you should check it out. It's not the worst thing to watch. It's not the best thing to watch. I know that it's very trauma and it is very it's a 2-hour movie. I just want to prepare you for that before you walk in the door thinking that this is going to be a short, quick thing. It's not a short, quick thing. Okay? Have a great rest of your day.